So this is where the younger brother gets mad again too, because they kind of go in for the Vanity and Tymek. They go in for a kiss and embrace.
Yes.
In this scene here, and
because he sees Bruce Lee kiss that woman on the thing,
and he's like, I gotta go for it.
Must say, great editing by Vanity. She's trying to get her.
She's leading it.
Her woobity on.
She's putting it out there, man.
Yeah. Her production team, William H. Macy, must have been a badass at editing. If he was still alive at this point,
right?
Yeah,
he might have been. He might have been the production designer.
See?
But where's the? I mean, like the hairdresser comes out of nowhere on a lot of different spots too, which is funny. And anyway,
the little kids are up there, and the younger brother gets mad. And then he even comes back to yell at her.
Yeah,
which is
he
like,
comes
dude,
down. She's like, "Come
dude.
down from there. You're gonna get hurt."
Yeah, it's like, dude. So, but anyway, this leads Bruce Leroy to get the idea to dress up,
right,
and act like different and go.
And so this is where you get to see him bring back his skills of jive talking. That
Yo,
he learned from
what
his
it
brother.
is. Yo, what it is.
My man.
My man. And then he goes, because they're all playing craps on the inside,
right.
and they're just reading it from a book.
It's like such a generic.
And they can't read it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah, he knocks it out of his hand. He's like, come on, man. That's not how you play craps.
And so he teaches him how to play hopscotch.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, first, when he's trying to get in, you can hear him just use his normal voice. What's up, guys? Or whatever. Yeah. And then he gets in there, and it's like the most generic warehouse of boxes where bad guys hang out ever. It's like it must be.
There's no chairs.
It must
they're not even bad guys.
Yeah, I know.
Well, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of portrayed in that way, kind of in a minute, but they're not. They're not.
Yeah,
bad
they're
guys.
just guys that run a fortune cookie business.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell him what happens here now.
Well, they pretty much. He's like, oh, well, wait out here, and they take him outside.
Well,
and
but
they're
before
all
that, even. I love because they had tried to hand him a joint and a bottle of liquor of some sort. And he's like, I've had too much already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And they're like totally fucking cool with it.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, whatever, man.
So
when they leave him outside, and then he's like, he gets wise to it. He's like, wait a minute, and then he explodes the fucking door.
So he kicks the door, and if you notice, the door had like the crossbar. Like,
yeah.
He explodes that motherfucker. Yeah.
Well, he gives him. He gives them the medallion because he wants to get the glow. He wants to learn the glow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he gives them.
No. This is actually. You're right.
Yeah, he gives them the medallion, and they're like, go wait out here, and they just put him outside, and he fucking karate kicks this door, like you said, the locked beam that's across it explodes. They must have had squibs in that fucking thing.
Because he kicked the fuck out of it.
He kicked the fuck out of it.
Then they take him into the room where they're making the actual fortune cookies.
Yeah,
because
he threatens to like beat their asses, dude. Like he gets a hold of that dude, and you're like, you could see the fury.
Yeah. And this is after he'd been hanging out with him for a while and taught him how to play scotch and stuff. And dude, there's like the coolest fucking little computer thing that is like spitting out
the same fortune
the
over
same
and over
fortune
again.
And it's like this machine that's wrapping up the cookie or putting the fortunes in the cookies.
Do you remember what the fortune says? It says something like, people that can't see color must not follow a horse of a different color or something like that. It's the same one over and over again. Like,
but
I paid
it's
attention.
this really cool little computer, like this like retro looking silver.
It's a light bright
sci-fi. Yeah, like light bright thing. It's really cool.
And then he runs off. He realizes, of course, that there's no master there. And so he runs back to his master.
Yes.
Or his former master.
Yeah, and then at the same time, they're kind of
ready to go to Miami to see
Yeah, because he's like, oh, that's to hold up your belt or something like that. But then that's whenever they go to
medallion's just a belt buckle the whole time. He just like throws it on the floor.
Yeah, so he's kind of lost at that point again.
Well, he gives him the fortune cookie after he takes the fortune out and says,
everything's in here
that you need.
To learn.
There's nothing. And he's like, and he crushes it. And like, who's going to sweep that shit up, motherfucker? Yeah. Right?
Trying to get out of here. That's how we get ants, Karen.
Well, then Sho'nuff's doing the Fight Club at that point too. That's when he has like the baddest like deal where he has the two safety helmets on his shoulders and he's kicking the shit out of everybody in that whole place, right? And that's when Arcadian and his brother go in with the
big box of
the suitcase full of
money,
full of money. But you notice at this point, Arcadian has a wig on,
which
is weird. It's kind of it's like, does he just wear this when he goes outside of his arcade?
Apparently.
Yeah.
Because in his office or whatever, his lair, he wasn't wearing one.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
no.
So it's like a hairpiece.
Maybe that's just for when he goes to Harlem.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
He
This
just
is my
wears
Harlem
hair.
hairpiece, you know, whatever. Go to Brooklyn, I wear a bucket head.
Yeah.
I don't know.
and then,
Right, absolutely. That's like the only time we really see him in that. You know?
yeah, and he's like, I don't want your money. Just get him to the place, and I'll take him out. So you're like, oh, okay, well, Sho'nuff's in
And
the
he
game.
shuts his fingers.
Yeah.
Rock's fingers.
He's like, oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, you. Boing.
Sounds like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon went
Boing.
crazy. Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. And then, well, that brings...
So this brings us to
the
It's
big
like one of
fight
the fight
scene.
showed like
fight scene.
Yeah.
the fight scene
Because he goes to load up on weapons, and Home Dude's there. He locks him in the closet. That's when we see Eddie Reyes Jr. comes in to rescue him because he grabs all these weapons and his fucking belt full of Chinese stars and shit like that.
Right.
And then goes to go fight him, and then they end up at Seventh Heaven again.
Yep, because you got to use the set. I mean, of course.
Well,
Yeah.
And before that, we see the brother come back in, as you were leading up to before, and he's like, "Get your hands off my woman."
yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
He says like 3 times.
Yeah.
Of course, so now he's captured as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he's tied up. She's tied up.
Yeah.
And then
All the important people in your life are
well,
tied up.
yeah. See, and that's whenever Arcadian's running the whole switchboard
Right,
and everything like
and
that.
he gets a little power.
Power hungry.
Yeah, up there, you know,
It's
he's just
essentially like a boss level in a video game.
Yeah,
right
pretty
now.
much.
absolutely.
Yeah, he's on level 18. He just took him on, and it's almost like a game of death kind of a throwback to that movie.
Absolutely.
Because his first level is taking out all the dudes inside the Seventh Heaven, but that's when he gets his back up. And Home Dude's a badass with the nunchucks too.
Well, suddenly, I learned the art of looking like I can fight. Can fucking fight.
yeah, with nunchucks, he's a
And
badass.
Not just even
right.
nunchucks. He's just kicking people's ass
Yeah.
left and right.
Right, because earlier he's like, "Oh, I just pretend, and if you act really tough and scream really loud, they'll just back off because I'm Asian."
But of
That's
course,
what he said.
yeah.
And then then he gets choked out or whatever. But yeah, motherfucker starts whooping
Suddenly
ass.
he's badass, kind of like Wang from Big Trouble in Little
Yeah.
China. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
just super badass.
He's all badass.
And then of course Ernie Reyes Jr. kicks everybody's ass.
Comes in and whoops the shit out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's when his little brother starts breakdancing out of his ropes.
Yeah, he does.
He like literally pops and locks out of his fucking ropes and shit to get loose. So that's like level 1. Yeah. And then he chases Arcadian and Laura out of the place, and they're in some abandoned building that's full of like smelting equipment. Something weird. It's like an old
Why
car
not,
factory
right?
in the middle of fucking Harlem.
Yeah.
And then they hit the first level, and he's basically kind of like going through everything. Home Dude's got a gun, almost shoots him at one point, doesn't he? Or no, he almost hits Arcadian with one of those like, throwing darts.
Yeah.
Kind of like throws it across the deal, and then here comes Sho'nuff.
Sho'nuff.
Sho'nuff is there, final level, top level of fucking kung fu and shit.
Sho'nuff.
And he literally like starts an epic fucking battle with him.
And kicking his ass.
Yeah.
Sho'nuff is kicking his ass, and this is where we finally get to see the glow. And I think it's cool. You know what level Sho'nuff is because he's already got the glow.
He's got the red
it's
glow.
red glow, so he's like a Sith Lord.
Yeah, he's the bad
man.
glow because he does at one point kick Sho'nuff through the door, and Sho'nuff like lands there like and like passes out, right? So you're like, oh, it's over, and he's like, oh, thank God, it's over. And then no, he's like Leroy,
And he's gone.
yeah, and you can hear he echoing. And he's like, oh shit,
Right.
now I got to go fucking fight in the Hall of Mirrors again. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
then they get into that other epic fight where the glow happens, the red glow, and he's in that badass stance and one eye's like half closed.
Looking
and
like,
the other, yeah.
and that's such the Busta Rhymes look
Yes.
right there from
Oh.
the '90s. He totally stole that for like some videos.
Oh.
Yeah. I was watching that. And I'm like, is that Busta?
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes?
Well, they get into a weird fight again in that smelting factory, and he's basically kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah,
like
Bruce Leroy is getting his ass fucking handed
to him big time.
because
and then,
the dude's got the glow and he's got no confidence.
no, and the fight scene is actually pretty legit.
Yeah.
In the way that it's well choreographed. So it looks really, really good on film from the cinematography standpoint and from the angles that they had. It looks like a really, really good Chinese fight, or not Chinese fight scene, but kung fu fighting scene.
Yeah.
You know, so they're actually really like kicking ass in it, and then he starts to drown him.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets the revelation that
here's where we get the flashbacks.
he's like, I am the master.
Well, you got so they show all the scenes, right, from where he's like, everything you need's in here.
Yeah.
Aren't you like a master to me?
Yeah. Yeah. And then
All
that
the
song
stuff.
is playing. That one song is playing that whole time.
Are the last dragon.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's intense too. Like it's getting in it, and he raises him out of the water.
Because he keeps dunking him, and he says, "Who's the master?"
Yeah.
And of course, he doesn't say anything, so he dunks him again, several times, several flashbacks,
Yeah.
and he pulls him up, and he says,
And he's
"Who's
smiling.
the master?"
He's like, I am.
And then he kicks his ass.
Well,
Uses
when
the glow.
Sho'nuff throws the left punch, and he throws the punch, and he catches it, and he's like,
like breaks
ow.
his hand.
God damn. He was like, God
Well, you can hear the bones
damn.
popping,
yeah.
too.
So he's just totally fucking. Then he does the Bruce Lee move with his arms,
Like making
which I'm imitating right now, and it's making everybody trip out, but
That
that's
you
cool.
can't see because we're an audio experience.
Yes. So
starts spinning his arms,
and the-
absolutely, with delayed photography or whatever.
Yes.
where-
and then he whoops the shit out of Sho'nuff. He finally beats Sho'nuff.
You got the glow, you
Go-
know.
Yes. Well, when he pulls him up and he's got that big ass shit eating grin on his face,
Yeah.
like he's like, "Yep, that's it,"
Yep.
and he achieves the fucking glow.
Well,
He's
and
there.
he kicks. So at the end, of course, of this epic fight, he kicks Sho'nuff into one of the vats.
Yes,
But being the gentleman he is, he picks him up out of it so
Yeah.
he can breathe and doesn't
Yeah.
die.
yeah, he doesn't kill him. He
Yeah.
still,
Not
he still,
Batman.
he
He's not
still lets
Batman.
him
That's
live.
right.
Because Sho'nuff's passed out, face down in the water. He pulls him up, and then that's when Arcadian comes down with the fucking
Which
45.
shoots him.
That's
Yep.
right.
He
Which
has the-
is,
yeah. Ooh.
again, with the cutback to why doesn't, from the Bruce Lee movie where he's like, why don't somebody just pull out a 45? You know?
Yes. Why
And
don't
here we
somebody
are.
just pull out a 45 and blow him away? But no, what does he say to Enter the Dragon? He's like, why doesn't somebody just pull out a 45 and then bang?
and then it's over.
Yes. But
No,
yeah,
no,
but
because
then
on the
yeah,
island they check for weapons.
So yeah, he
like
shoots
Leroy's
him.
like freaking out, like
Yeah.
right before the guns, but he's like, oh.
Yeah, he shoots
Right.
him, and
He catches the fucking bullet with his goddamn teeth, and that music is still going on.
Yeah,
too.
it is.
Like there's no dramatic pause in it. The music is still going, and then he turns him over, and he smiles, and his fucking bullets in his teeth. He
Yep.
caught that motherfucker. Swallows bullets, catches bullets in his mouth. He
So
actually
does?
does.
So a little foreshadowing there from earlier.
right
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
back to the theater
Yeah.
callback.
Well, and now after the repeated watchings of this movie, whenever he realizes he's a master, looking back at it, it's obvious.
Oh yeah.
Completely obvious
Oh, for
all the way
sure.
through it because he's like, "There's no more. You're the last. That's the last dragon. You are a master, pretty much." He's like, everything's right there, and he's just so dense that he doesn't realize it because he
Right.
thinks he needs more.
Or humble could be
yeah,
the word.
Yeah. He's just like, "Oh, I'm not ready," and that's the beginning, and at the end, he's like, "Good son of a bitch, I was a master the
I
whole
knew-
time.
Guys.
Why didn't somebody just tell me you're a master?
Aw, shucks.
Somebody did." Well, then they pretty much like ride off into the sunset.
Well, no, then you have the scene. We're back in Seventh Heaven. And
Oh,
he comes back, and now he's wearing all white,
ooh, yeah.
and he's got the roses.
Yeah.
But he's just out of view behind
His
the
face
curtain.
is, and she's looking for him. But
Right.
everybody in the whole place is wearing white too.
Yeah, of course.
Even his little brother and everything. They're all wearing white.
And he's dancing with another girl now, if you notice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Like, all right, go, guys.
He's moved on.
Yeah,
That's
he's
right.
moved on.
He's moved
a
on.
young horny dude.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
And then they get into the
And then
oh,
he
yeah.
says, he's yelling something at her, and the music's like really loud, and then they turn it off. And he's like, "Will you show me some moves?"
Yes.
What?
Everybody's like, ah.
Because earlier that meant like
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah.
moves.
Yeah, 1985.
Yeah.
At the
You don't
rhythm
got no
of the
moves.
night.
Sex.
You wouldn't know what to do with it if you got it.
And then that's it.
That
It can
is-
hurt if you don't do it right.
yeah, he does say that, huh? No, that movie, it's epic. It's so bad that it's good because after repeated watchings, once you really just like forgo anything with it, it really is a funny, awesome movie to watch.
And
you know?
it's got that cult status, and I can see why it has that cult status, especially in the communities of African Americans who were into kung fu and stuff like that. I can see why this Motown guy came out and was like, I'm gonna make this kung fu movie, and they're fucking all doing coke and just I mean, like, dude.